The year is 1986, a year that will be remembered for its pivotal moments in history. The world watches with bated breath as the Cold War chills the very air we breathe. Tensions are high, and the threat of nuclear conflict looms over every corner of the globe. Nestled amidst the flatlands of Soviet Ukraine, a city hums with life: Pripyat. This city, with its modern amenities and vibrant community, stands as a beacon of Soviet achievement. Built to house the families of those working at the nearby Chernobyl nuclear power plant, Pripyat is a model Soviet city, a testament to progress and technological might. Its wide boulevards and towering apartment blocks symbolize the promise of a bright future. Unbeknownst to its residents, a silent threat festers within the concrete walls of Reactor Number 4. This reactor, a marvel of engineering, hides a perilous secret. Designed to generate electricity for millions, Reactor 4 harbors a fatal flaw, a hidden danger waiting to be unleashed. The engineers and workers dedicated to their tasks remain unaware of the impending disaster. In the heart of the reactor, uranium fuel rods stand ready to unleash their power. A power that can illuminate cities, or, as we will soon learn, lay waste to them. These rods, meticulously maintained, are the lifeblood of the plant. The people of Pripyat, blissfully unaware of the ticking time bomb in their backyard, go about their lives. They shop, work and play, enjoying the comforts of their well-planned city. Children play in the shadow of the power plant, their laughter echoing through the streets. They run and jump, their carefree days a stark contrast to the danger lurking nearby. Families gather for dinner, sharing stories of their day. Conversations flow easily, filled with the mundane details of daily life, completely oblivious to the looming threat. Life, for the unsuspecting residents of Pripyat, continues in its simple rhythm, a stark contrast to the impending catastrophe that will forever etch their city's name in history. The serenity of their daily routines masks the silent countdown to disaster. At the heart of the Chernobyl disaster lies the RBMK-1000 reactor, a Soviet design that prioritized power output over inherent safety. This reactor was a product of its time, reflecting the Soviet Union's ambition to rapidly expand its nuclear power capabilities. Unlike its Western counterparts, the RBMK-1000 lacked a crucial safety feature: a robust containment structure. Western reactors were designed with thick steel-reinforced concrete domes to contain any potential radioactive release. This containment structure, designed to withstand internal explosions and contain radioactive materials, was absent in the Chernobyl reactor. This omission was a testament to the Soviet emphasis on speed and cost-effectiveness over comprehensive safety protocols. The focus was on building reactors quickly and cheaply, often at the expense of safety. The reactor's design flaws ran deeper than the lack of a containment structure. The very core of the reactor had inherent vulnerabilities that were overlooked or ignored. A critical design flaw lay in the reactor's control rods, responsible for regulating the nuclear chain reaction. These rods were essential for maintaining the reactor's stability. Made of graphite, these rods, instead of immediately slowing down the reaction when inserted, initially accelerated it. This was due to the graphite tips, which caused a temporary spike in reactivity. This counterintuitive effect, a fatal design flaw, would prove catastrophic in the events that unfolded on that fateful night. The sudden increase in reactivity led to an uncontrollable chain reaction. The combination of these design flaws, coupled with a culture of secrecy and a lack of transparency about the reactor's vulnerabilities, created a perfect storm for disaster. Information about the reactor's weaknesses was tightly controlled and not shared with those who needed it most. Adding to this volatile mix was the reactor's positive void coefficient, a characteristic that made the reactor inherently unstable. This meant that as the reactor heated up and steam bubbles formed, the reactivity increased, further escalating the situation. As the sun dipped below the horizon on April 25, 1986, the night shift took over at Chernobyl's Reactor 4. The air was thick with the hum of machinery and the quiet chatter of workers. A routine safety test was scheduled, designed to simulate a power failure and assess the reactor's ability to cool itself. This test was crucial for ensuring the plant's safety in case of an actual emergency. Unbeknownst to the operators, the reactor's design flaws and the test's flawed procedures would set the stage for a catastrophe of unprecedented scale. The reactor had inherent instabilities that were not fully understood. The test, already delayed, commenced under the watchful eyes of experienced engineers and technicians. They were confident in their abilities and the protocols they had practiced countless times. Step by step, they followed the established protocol, unaware that they were dancing on the precipice of disaster. Each action they took brought them closer to the brink. As the test progressed, a series of operational errors and misjudgments compounded the reactor's inherent instabilities. Small mistakes began to snowball into a larger, uncontrollable problem. Crucially, the operators violated safety protocols by disabling automatic safety systems designed to prevent a runaway reaction. This decision was made in an attempt to adhere to the test's requirements. This, coupled with a miscalculation of the reactor's operating parameters, pushed the reactor into uncharted and dangerous territory. The warning signals were there, but they were either ignored or misunderstood. The operators, confident in their training and experience, remained oblivious to the silent monster they were about to unleash. They had no idea that their actions would soon lead to one of the worst nuclear disasters in history. April 26, 1:23 a.m. The reactor runs wild. At 1:23 a.m. on April 26, 1986, the unthinkable happened. The chain reaction in Reactor 4 spiraled out of control, leading to a catastrophic power surge. The reactor's power output surged far beyond its design limits, triggering a chain of events that would forever alter the course of history. The rapid and uncontrolled increase in power caused a massive steam explosion, ripping apart the reactor's heavy concrete lid. The force of the explosion sent shockwaves across the surrounding countryside, shattering windows, collapsing roofs, and awakening the sleeping residents of Pripyat to a nightmare. In the heart of the reactor, the uranium fuel rods melted, creating a molten mass that burned through the reactor core. This molten fuel, spewing into the reactor building's basement, interacted with water and concrete, triggering a series of secondary explosions that further compromised the already damaged reactor. Fires of Chernobyl, the inferno that shook the world. The explosion at Chernobyl was not a single event, but the start of a terrifying cascade. With the reactor core exposed, a massive fire ignited, spewing radioactive material high into the atmosphere. The inferno raged for days, defying attempts to extinguish it with conventional methods. The fire, fueled by the burning graphite moderator and other reactor components, released a plume of radioactive isotopes into the atmosphere. This plume, carried by prevailing winds, spread across vast swathes of the Soviet Union and Europe, contaminating everything it touched with invisible but deadly radiation. The fire at Chernobyl presented a challenge unlike any the world had ever seen. Firefighters, ill-equipped and unaware of the invisible danger they faced, bravely battled the blaze, their heroic efforts preventing an even greater catastrophe. Their courage and sacrifice would come at a heavy price, as many would later succumb to the insidious effects of radiation poisoning. Sacrifices were made in the name of containment. In the aftermath of the explosion, an army of liquidators, firefighters, soldiers, miners, and engineers were mobilized to contain the disaster. Tasked with the daunting mission of cleaning up the radioactive debris and encasing the destroyed reactor, these brave souls faced unimaginable conditions. Working in shifts to minimize their exposure to lethal radiation levels, the liquidators cleared debris, erected a concrete sarcophagus around the ruined reactor, and decontaminated the surrounding areas. Their efforts, often undertaken with inadequate protective gear and under immense pressure, were crucial in preventing further spread of radioactive material. The liquidators' sacrifices were immense. Many received high doses of radiation, leading to acute radiation sickness and long-term health problems. Their bravery and selflessness in the face of an invisible enemy stand as a testament to human courage and resilience. Ghost town Pripyat and the Exclusion Zone. In the hours and days following the explosion, the Soviet authorities began the evacuation of Pripyat and the surrounding areas. Over 100,000 people were forced to leave their homes, their lives upended in a matter of hours. They were told it would be a temporary evacuation, unaware that they would never return. Today, Pripyat stands frozen in time, a haunting reminder of the disaster. Empty streets, deserted buildings, and abandoned possessions bear silent witness to the lives interrupted. The city, once a symbol of Soviet progress, has become a chilling monument to the devastating consequences of technological failure. Pripyat and the surrounding area, encompassing a 30-kilometer radius from the reactor, form the Chernobyl Exclusion Zone. This zone, heavily contaminated with radioactive isotopes, remains largely uninhabited, a stark reminder of the disaster's lasting legacy.